Welcome to the Insight Meditation Community of Charlotte. I'm Joy LiBethe, one of your Dharma leaders. And, I know a lot of you aren't on the screen now because you're in your pajamas or on your bed or eating dinner or whatever, but you just want to pop up onto your screen for just a minute and then we can all wave to each other because it's so nice to see all the Sangha members. I miss seeing everyone, so it's really nice to be able to scroll through now and see all of you. Right, thank you. You can go off, and no one noticed what you were doing. So, okay, so in these really difficult times, I've heard many people say how thankful they are for their practice. For me, taking refuge in the Dhamma and the Sangha and the Buddha, without whom we wouldn't be here tonight sharing any of this, it's been more valuable than ever for me. And we're really fortunate to have his teachings and that they're available to us. Tonight I'm going to talk about generosity, the most fundamental of the Buddhist practices. Without generosity of those who have come before us, we wouldn't be gathered here tonight, whether it was our parents or grandparents or guardian or friend or family members. We relied on someone's generosity to care for us until we could care for ourselves. And the earth itself offers to us food, water, resources of all kinds, a home, the very air we breathe. We live in an interdependent world where we are continuously being provided for. Despite the complexities that can arise in giving and receiving, the moment of exchange is one of opening and connecting. And upon his arrival in the communities, Buddha taught generosity as the first step on the path, followed by sila or ethics, and then by meditation or mindfulness or insight, leading to wisdom and enlightenment. And as the Buddha traveled throughout the land, freely offering his teachings, he was only able to do so through the generous offerings of dana. Now, dana is a Pali word in the dialect spoken in the area of India in which the Buddha mostly taught, and is the language in which the teachings of the Buddha are preserved. Dana refers to the act of giving and the gift itself, and it's often described as generosity. From the time of the Buddha and continuously for the last 2,600 years, the community of Buddhist monks and nuns, through their compassion and generosity, have been teaching and instructing lay persons with regard to their spiritual needs. In return, lay Buddhist followers have shown generosity toward the Buddhist monks and nuns by providing for their basic needs, especially food, called almsgiving. And it's only through this practice of dana that the monks are able to live and practice and support the community spiritually. So I was really fortunate to be able to go to Laos, Gary and I, and here's a photo that was taken there. We were able to attend one of the almsgiving, and you see the baskets that we're holding. The night before we went, our guide said, would you like me to have a local family prepare rice for you to be able to give out to the monks? And we said, yeah, sure. And so we paid for a family to make the rice for us, what's in the basket. And then the box you see below, that was sort of like packaged ramen noodles that when it's monsoons or the monks aren't able to go out to get for the alms, then they have that they're able to prepare for themselves. So I just want to show you just a quick video. We had the morning that we went, we got up before dawn. It was still dark, as you can see, and we went to an area, it was very sacred. It may just look like the monks falling through, but we had to be barefooted. We weren't supposed to look at them. It was really quiet in that early morning. And as you can see, we had to give them the rice as they went by. And I think out of my our entire travels through Laos and Cambodia and Vietnam, this going to the almsgiving was like the highlight of the whole thing. To be participating in the same thing that was happening 26 years ago was pretty awesome and very moving. So there's many suttas that talk of generosity, which was considered by Buddha to be of great importance and significance in spiritual development. So here's one of them, the Itavutaka. If beings knew, as I know, the results of giving and sharing, they would not eat without having given, nor would the stain of selfishness overcome their minds. The Buddha listed 5 benefits of the practice of dana. A donor will be dear to others and enjoy the affection of many people. They'll be admired by people of integrity. Their fine reputation will spread far and wide. They'll have self-confidence, and following their death, they'll go to a good place. So that's good news. However, these are not good reasons for the giver to give. The real benefit for the giver is to find release from attachment and ego habits, to go behind the hindrances and negativity patterns, and to practice letting go. If we give selflessly, the Buddha says, before giving, the mind of the giver is happy. While giving, the mind of the giver is made peaceful, and having given, the mind of the giver is uplifted. So giving can be considered an antidote to the poisons of selfishness, greed, attachment, craving, and clinging. And can you see how it contributes to letting go, how it contributes to social harmony and integration? It can help us to grasp impermanence as well. Really, what can we actually possess? We just have things in our lives temporarily. So our Sangha book discussion group this fall is exploring a book called Deep Hope, which is a book about the paramis, also known as the 10 perfections. And they can be developed in everyday life. And the paramis are considered a supreme expression of a compassionate heart, an essential element on the path to Buddhahood. And in those 10 paramis, generosity is number 1. The Buddha says it's not what we give, but the place from within in which we give. So our intentions and our motivations, as in all our actions, are of primary importance. Buddhists describe 3 groups of people existing in the world based on their habit of giving. And I love this simile. Bhikkhus, 3 kinds of persons are found existing in the world. What 3? One who is like a rainless cloud, one who reigns locally, and one who reigns everywhere, like Hurricane Sally. So he goes on to describe that a rainless cloud is like one that doesn't give to anyone. One who reigns locally gives to some, but not to others. And a person who reigns everywhere, he says, is like a great storm cloud that thunders and rains down, filling the levels and hollows, saturating the earth with water. Having righteously gathered wealth, which he obtains by his own benefit, the person fully satisfies with food and drink whatever beings live in need. So there are many types of gifts and many ways to show generosity. In one sutta, we're told of 3 types: the giving of material things, the giving of fearlessness, and the giving of Dhamma. So the first one, material things, is pretty clear. So let me say something about the other 2. The giving of fearlessness is traditionally a gift given by rulers and leaders and others in power to whom they lead. And what it is it's assurances that they will use their power only as protection for their people and not being harmful to them. Certainly at this time in the state of the world, we could use more of that, as we see how much fear there is over misuse of power and lack of respect and caring for all individuals, especially Black and brown and indigenous peoples. Buddha goes on to say that even when we're not in a position of power, we can give fearlessness to others by supporting places of shelter and benefit and being present for others. And we can see the call for that in the protests of today. So if we protected the most vulnerable, wouldn't everyone be protected? We say in Metta, may you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. We want to give protection to those we love. We don't want them to have fear. You know, by following the 5 precepts, we give protection from fear. So if we follow those precepts, people know we aren't going to kill, we aren't going to steal from them, we aren't going to engage in sexual misconduct, we're going to be honest with them, and we're not going to use intoxicants that can cloud our judgment. So the first 2 types I mentioned are material gifts and the gifts of fearlessness. And the third type is the giving of Dhamma, which is considered the greatest of the gifts. This is sharing wisdom or truth with others so that their suffering is lessened. It can be, but it doesn't have to be formal teachings. So let me also mention that to give away what you don't need isn't always considered dana. So, you know, there's actually a website called uglychristmassweaters.com. So, you know, there's a joke about people giving away these ugly sweaters. And there's also, maybe you've seen these t-shirts people wear. My family went to Barbados or Paris or whatever it was, and all I got was this damn t-shirt. Have you seen that? So, okay, so that's not dana. True dana arises from the intention underlying your act. What about the giving of yourself? Dana can be the sharing of your time or wisdom, giving your presence and attention. Simone Weil says, attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. And Kahal Gibran says in The Prophet, you give but little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give. Forgiving only makes your life richer. So, you know, are you generous in forgiveness, praise of others, understanding and emotional support, non-judgmentalness? So you might think, okay, how do we cultivate it? It seems like it's a really natural thing to be generous, but it does need to be practiced and developed because of our underlying attachments and clinging and fears. So, you know, some ways to give are to be open to the viewpoint of another person, to listen, to express gratitude, to vote, and it's so important, to volunteer your time. How about to give others the benefit of the doubt? So start small or pay it forward. Think of a person who's generous to you and emulate them or send a thank you to them. You know, Ayakima says on the spiritual path, there's nothing to get and everything to get rid of. Generosity helps us to realize the impermanence of all phenomena. Really, what can we actually possess? As many Native American nations teach, we're only temporary caretakers of all that is provided. In one sense, you can say of life, no getting, no possessing, and no giving. Just the spaciousness that allows things to remain in the natural flow of life. So I'm going to mention some questions that might help you in developing this perfection of generosity. When you give, what's happening in your body and mind? Is it ease and openness? Is it loving kindness, compassion? Or do you fear depletion? Are you ambivalent or confused or fearful of being taken advantage of or of not having enough? Are you functioning from a sense of scarcity and separation? So don't push those feelings down if you have them or judge yourself. Hold them in tenderness. Remember, your genuine intention is to be more generous. That's what matters. Instead of focusing on what you're giving, focus on the motivation that prompts you to give. And you might ask at times, are you giving beyond what is appropriate or healthy for you out of need for attention or appreciation? Mother Teresa said, if you can't feed 100 people, then just feed one. So think about maybe when and to whom it's easiest for you to give. And also, what gifts are you thankful for? When we are appreciative, it creates the space of abundance. So it's natural to give. So developing our appreciation and our gratitude. maybe you often have a feeling or sense that you should give something, or generous impulse. Jack Kornfield always says, never push that down. Always follow through on that. I can remember, long time ago, I was young and I was driving through Washington, D.C., and I got lost. It was late at night, and I was in my little 1961 Volkswagen Beetle, and I had to go to the bathroom. And so I finally came across a gas station. Now, I'm not talking about these big QTs with all the light. I'm talking, an old gas station from 60s, dark, and I was really scared. I got out and I ran into the restroom, and there was a woman in there, and I never got to see her. She was all covered up, and she was sitting on the counter by the sink, kind of all huddled up. And there was just something in me that said, give her what you have in your wallet. Now, I was pretty poor back then, so it wasn't a lot of money, but I gave her what I had in my wallet. And I just kind of got it out, and a hand came out and took it, and that was it. But I remember that, and I remember being so glad that I had followed through on that impulse. I think we were at St. Francis Springs, and I had a shawl, and a woman working in the kitchen said, "Oh, I love that shawl. Where did you get it?" And I had gotten it in another country, so I knew she wasn't going to find it. And I said, well, you're not going to be able to get this. But she said, well, if you ever want to give it away, send it this way. So I walked out into the dining area, and I thought, I'll go back and give it to her. So I went back and I took it off and I gave it to her. So I'm not saying that to you so you think, oh, what a generous person. I'm saying that to you because I have no idea what that shawl looked like. I don't know where I got it. I don't remember anything about it, and it hasn't been that many years. So what I'm saying was, how much did I need that? How valuable was that to me? So I gave it away. And then I was in the Caribbean, and I had these long dangling colorful parrot earrings on, and a woman in a shop said, oh, my daughter collects parrots. She would love those earrings. Where did you get them? And it wasn't on that island. So I said, here, and I took them off and I said, give them to your daughter. She was real appreciative. And then I made up my mind. Whenever anyone tells me that they really like my earrings, I'm going to take them off and give it to them. So to be honest, I haven't been perfect in that. There have been times where I've kept the earrings, but I've had so much fun giving away the earrings many times when people have said that they like them. And what are the earrings? I look at my jewelry now that I don't even put it on since I'm not going out anywhere. And I look at it and I think, and I don't have diamonds and emeralds and all that, just jewelry. And I look at it and think, what am I doing with all this? Same thing, what am I doing with all this? Now that we're home, we see how little we really need. So, Buddha said there are 4 types of victories. Anger conquered by love, bad conquered by good, miserliness conquered by generosity, and lying conquered by truth. An act of generosity defeats the root cause of greed, but also goes away into destroying ill will and ignorance, the other poisons as well. There's so much attention paid to the media, to all the negativity, to the greed and sensitivity and cruelty in the world, that we might forget that people are naturally inclined to be generous. So I was on one of those get out the vote letter writing parties a couple weeks ago with Sharon Salzberg, and there was a woman on there by the name of Sherry. And back in March, she wanted to try to help out her community when everyone was shut in. So she started a website, and that website is called Pandemic of Love. And there'd be a list of needs that people would have. And then people would come on and they would just pick someone that they wanted to self-match to and help them. So it might've been, I need a prescription picked up. I need someone to take me to the grocery store. I need $200 to pay my rent, or I'm going to get evicted. And people just connected on their own. She didn't monitor it. And lots of people started calling her from other communities saying, I want to do that in my community. I checked a couple weeks ago, there wasn't one in Charlotte, there's one in Raleigh, but they're all over the world now. And she said that there have now been 600,000 matches between people, and $39 million has changed hands. And all of that out of generosity. You know, there's a new restaurant real close to me called Tacos for Life. And for every taco or burrito or whatever you buy, they donate 24 cents that buys these packets of rice to give to starving children in the world. Wouldn't it be wonderful if every restaurant could just give a few cents for your meal for that? Australia just minted $1. It's a real dollar, but it's called donation dollar. And they're hoping that people, when they get that dollar, they will donate that to something to try to help increase the donations. There's also a website called Coronavirus, not coronavirus, Karuna, K-A-R-U-N-A, the Pali word from compassion, coronavirus.org. And on that website, they have all good things. So if you're feeling down, the news is getting to you, go to coronavirus.org. You know, it was an article in there about a policeman who needed a kidney transplant, and a woman he arrested 8 years ago donated her kidney to him. There was a dog, for you animal people, a dog who was found pregnant and she was rescued. She lost all her puppies and she was frantic. The woman tried to see if there was any puppies anywhere that needed a home, and there weren't, but someone said, well, what about kittens? We have these day-old orphan kittens. So it's a wonderful video of this dog, this big dog, having taken these kittens in, washing them and nursing them. So anyway, coronavirus.org. And, you know, and it made me think of a sutta where the Buddha said, even if a person throws rinsing of a bowl or a cup into a village pool or pond, thinking, may whatever animals live here feed on this, that would be a source of merit. Helen Keller said, although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of the overcoming of suffering. And Leonard Nimoy said, the miracle is this: the more we share, the more we have. So I want to say two more things because I'm getting low on time here before I run out. And it's about generosity to yourself and receiving generosity. So it's a quote by Father Ed Bacon from his book, 8 Habits of Love. First habit is the habit of generosity. He writes, the human spirit, just like the seas, needs both inflow and outflow in order to foster life and create energy. Receiving generosity is a powerful and intimate inviting of another into ourselves. You know, it's a gift to allow someone to develop generosity by giving to you. We all need to learn to receive as well as to give. So if you take away the cloud of delusion, the walls of ill will, the greed of clutching, underneath is goodness and generosity, a space within you where you can give and receive. You know, you're listening to this talk tonight because you're on the path, and the path is wholesome, and you are too. Don't forget to be generous to yourself. And I don't mean buying yourself that sweater that costs too much, but giving yourself time and space and that which brings you genuine joy and compassion. Don't forget to give yourself compassion for your own suffering. His Holiness the Dalai Lama said, generosity is the most important natural outward expression of an inner attitude of compassion and loving kindness. And I think all four of the Brahma Viharas, the divine abodes, which are wholesome mind states, I think they're all intertwined in giving. Giving can be an expression of loving kindness, and giving when there's a need stems from compassion. And when we see the effect that an act or gift brings to the recipient, we know appreciative joy and are happy for their gain. Thich Nhat Hanh said, one word, one action, one thought can reduce another person's suffering and bring that person joy. And also when we feel more balanced when we let go of something and when we can receive, so we can rest in that equanimity that we've done our part to give and to allow ourselves to accept as well. You know, generosity is central on the path of the Bodhisattva. Simone de Beauvoir said, that's what I consider true generosity. You give your all, and yet you always feel as if it cost you nothing. So in closing, in the words of the Irishman, John Donahue, may I live this day compassionate of heart, clear in word, gracious in awareness, courageous in thought, and generous in love. Open your heart, just that. Thank you. Okay. Well, it's now time for questions and answers. And we have two ways. You can either write your question on the chat, or you can go down to participants and click on raising your hand, and your virtual hand will go up, and that should pop up so I can see it. So you have either way of doing that. So, so this is from Alexa. She said, I admired a pair of your owl earrings, and now I love my owl earrings. Thank you for your generosity, Alexis. Thank you for your generosity, Alexis. Thank you for the, okay. I'm glad that many of you were able to appreciate the talk. You know, we like to give a talk once a year on Dana and generosity. And I don't think I've got any, let me just make sure I don't have any hands raised. I do have a hand raised. It's Steve. Steve, I'm going to let you go ahead and unmute. You see if you can unmute.
Is there a moral responsibility to earn in order to give?
To earn in order to give? Well, certainly, you know, people who don't have much, sometimes the people who give a lot. But, you know, in terms of finances, you know, the Buddha said there's nothing wrong with having money and being wealthy, as long as you've obtained that through ethical means, through your own efforts and ethical means. And then, you know, because he taught generosity, I mean, he taught people about generosity when he arrived in a community before he even taught about meditation, before he even taught about ethics. But certainly it's an important part of the ethics on this path. Does that answer your question?
Kinda. It's good to earn, and it's good to give.
That's right. It's good for both.
Thank you.
That's right. And you know, I was thinking about to whom should one give, and I did see one sutta where someone asked the Buddha, well, who should I give to? And he said, to whomever your mind is inclined to give. So we all have different organizations we give to, or different individuals and all, and it's to whatever, and you know, in Buddhism, when you hear the word mind, you've got to think mind, heart. You know, you got to think it's one thing. So wherever your mind, wherever your heart is inclined.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, I think that might be it for our chats. And I don't see any more hands raised, I don't think. Okay, all right. Well, let me, if you have something, you could still put it in, but and Denise also posted coronavirus.org in case you didn't get that on when I mentioned it. That's in the chat room. Okay, so let me go on to announcements for tonight. So on October 7th, Thea Powers, one of our Dharma leader trainees, is going to be leading that night, and so she's great. You want to make sure that you tune in for that. An act of generosity that one can be doing is that we're having a Clean Up Charlotte Earth Day event. It's at Freedom Park on October 10th from 9 to noon, and you can contact Gail Goforth about that. our second fall book Zoom discussion on Sharon Salzberg's new book, Real Change, which is about helping the world and staying centered. That begins on October 7th, the first one. There's going to be our fall insight meditation basic series via Zoom led by Ward, and that's going to be on 4 consecutive Tuesdays beginning October 6th. So if you need a refresher, or you haven't been tuning in, or you're new to meditation, that would be a good thing to attend. Then Debbie is going to be doing a Beyond the Basics series on living the Four Noble Truths. We read a lot about the Four Noble Truths, and she's going to help us to see how we can really make that an important part of our lives. And that's 4 Tuesdays beginning October 20th, but you won't be meeting on election night. And then we have a new program, really exciting, called a Sangha Buddy program. And that's to connect 2 people together during COVID. And your connection can be by phone or by Zoom or whatever platform. And to share information about your practice and your journey on that. And that's going to be from October 1st to December 31st. Then the last thing on generosity that we're having is a Second Harvest Food Bank volunteer event. And I know that's been successful in the past. That's November 14th from 9 to 12, and you can contact Laura. Now, all of these, all this information's on our website, so I don't want to take any longer to go through all of this, but so just check out the website for the information on those. And I think we have someone who would like to raise their hand and say something. So Elizabeth, you want to unmute?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Joy. I wanted to just pop in and let you all know of a last minute offering. I am a member of the programs committee here with the Sangha, and we have been approached about a partnership opportunity with the Charlotte Center for Mindfulness. They are putting together racial affinity groups that will be starting to meet towards the end of October. And so in preparation for that, we are doing a little book group using this book. I hope you can see it, Mindful of Race. We'll be doing that via Zoom. It's going to meet October 2nd and 9th, which is a Friday night, but we figure nobody's going out on Friday night, so why not? We're going to do it from 6:30 to 8:30. The information is on the website, and so what the Charlotte Center for Mindfulness is asking is just that you've read the book before you come for the kickoff. I guess it'll be a virtual meditation to kick off the racial affinity groups. So if you'd like more information about it, just email programs@imccharlotte.org and I will get it to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So, and thank you to programming and all of the people on the programming committee and the board and everybody that works to make this Zoom happen. I want to thank Larry tonight for doing the intro for me, the PR committee, the Meta committee. We have so many committees that work so hard, and excuse me, and I really want to thank everyone who works on those. Just appreciate the generosity that they're always showing to make our Sangha what it is today. And if you would like to, was there anyone else who had any other? Maria's got a hand. Hold on a second. Maria, you want to unmute?
Hello.
Hi.
I just wanted to say that I received a request from somebody for a Sangha buddy, and so if anybody's interested, please send in requests so I can continue to match folks up. And it's all in line with Joy's talk tonight, given of our time to each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Okay. So for all we talked about, you can find it online. And also, if you go online, there's one heading called support. And underneath that support, there's the opportunity to volunteer. And you can fill in your information if you want to volunteer for our Sangha. And then there's also one for Donna to make donations. And as you can imagine, when you're not meeting in person, donations are going to start to fall off. So if the Sangha has been important to you, then, you know, and you're moved to do so, we appreciate all of the Dana that you give to us. And we are a 501c3 educational organization, so any Dana giving to us is tax deductible. Then also, if you take a look at your chats, Denise wrote our website on there, and also we can accept checks mailed to 3900 D Park Road. You can see that on there if that's the best way. So I think that's probably all I have for tonight, unless I've missed any questions or anything else. Okay. Thank you all, and thank you for giving your time for this evening to be with us. So now it's time for our loving kindness, our metta meditation. And Buddha says, you know, get relaxed, just like I invited you to do, to just be relaxed and at ease and letting go of everything. Get in a comfortable position and close your eyes. And I'll say some phrases. You can repeat after me. If you have your own phrases you'd like to use, of course, do that. May I be happy and at ease. May my life be filled with the giving and receiving of generosity. May I be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May I be peaceful. May I be free. Now bring to mind person or persons to whom you would like to send metta. May you be happy and at ease. May your life be filled with the giving and receiving of generosity. May you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May you be peaceful. May you be free. May all beings be happy and at ease. May all beings' lives be filled with the giving and receiving of generosity. May all beings be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free. May the merit of our generosity and other virtuous deeds be for the benefit of all beings. Thank you all. It was wonderful being with you tonight. Good night. Stay safe and happy.